We left off the last tutorial looking at Mario after we had resized him. You'll notice that our Mario is now 32 by 32, and we're still in the Paint.net program and looking at him at 800% magnification. So what we're going to do now is we're going to save our file. The traditional way of saving a file when you're working on Word or Excel or PowerPoint is you just go up to File and then you click on Save. Well, unfortunately, we're working on the original .png file. We've cut it down to be just a piece of the original file, but we don't want to save over the original file. That would eliminate our copy of all of the Marios and give us only one Mario, and we don't want that. We want to cut out a portion and save it as a new file. So in order to do that, we go to File, and instead of going to Save, we go to Save As. When we click on Save As, it's going to bring up our Save Windows Explorer menu. And we're going to see that we're already under Desktop. We're under our graphics editing folder that we've created for this process, and then we have our example folder. So here's our ORIG file, and we'll see that it already pops up with ORIG. That's the original name, but we're now going to save it under characters, and we don't have any other PNG files under our characters file because this is our first one. And we're going to call this file Mario. We'll see, we already have one called Mario Jump. So we're going to call this Mario J. And then we're going to change the file type. Scratch does not allow you to upload PNG files. It only accepts a few different file formats. It accepts bitmap, it accepts GIF, and it accepts JPEG. JPEG has the lowest resolution, so you'll have to do more work actually in Scratch's photo editing software if you upload a JPEG. So we're going to make things easier on ourselves, and we're just going to change this to a GIF format or a GIF. Again, you'll see we already have one called Mario Jump, so that's why we call this one Mario J. Technically, if you go up to more options and look at our icons, Mario Jump is going to look the same as our Mario Jump. So I've already done this file before, but for purposes of this lesson, I'm just going to make a second copy of it, and we're going to call it Mario J. Then we click Save, and we're done, except for the configuration portion. Now we have these things called dithering levels and transparency thresholds. Because of the GIF file format, it allows us to kind of change some of these levels. But what we're going to want to do is we're going to want transparency at 255 and dithering at 8. It makes the file size large, but it's not really large because it's only 1 kilobyte, which is 1,000 bytes, or 1/1,000,000th of a gigabyte. So it's really relatively small. So we're going to go to OK, and it'll say saving, and there we have it. So now if I were to go to File and open a file, or open a recent file, I would be able to open up Mario J. So now that we've saved our file, we've cut everything out, we've resized it, what do we do? How do we get back to our ORIG file? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to hold the Control key down, and we're going to press Z. And if we press it one time, it's just going to shrink it back down to the last step. If we press it a second time, though, it's going to bring back all of the sprites from our ORIG file. So it's going to take us all the way back to the point at which we made our little 16 by 16 selection area. Now, you want to keep in mind that the file is currently named MarioJ.gif or .gif. This is going to be important when we move to our second of the pictures, but right now you just need to notice that it's no longer ORIG, even though it has all the ORIG pictures to it, or sprites to it. So we're going to scroll up to the top again, and we're going to do this for our second picture, just to reiterate some of the processes and to show you a little shortcut. Now that we've picked the size of our Mario, we found our largest Mario character, we can move this bounding box again and basically use it like a cookie cutter to cut out all of our little Mario characters. And generally we want to make sure that the feet are always on the bottom of the box. So for instance, this one where there's a space, it could be the head on the top or the feet on the bottom. We want to make sure that we keep the feet on the bottom. And then we also want to make sure, as much as we can, that there's an even amount of space in front of and behind. So we don't want to have Mario in the corner like this, or Mario in the back like this. We want to kind of keep this in the middle. In cases where there's just one extra pixel, it's usually always best to leave the one extra pixel behind Mario. So if it's an uneven number, it's best to leave the pixel behind Mario. But for an even number of excess pixels on the edges, just keep Mario kind of dead in the center here. So again, we can use the same process. We crop, we'll resize our image. I'll do this a little bit quicker this time. We're going to go by percentage just to make things faster. We're going to keep that really high resolution rate. Hit OK, resizes, save as. We're going to call this Mario Stand. Keep it in a GIF format. Hit save. We don't need to change any of these values because they'll go back to the last ones we used. Hit OK. Control Z twice, and we're back to the beginning. And we can do this for each and every one of these individual Mario pictures if we want, but we'll notice that some of these versions of Mario get particularly large. For instance, when we get down to try to take our bounding box down to, for instance, these very large Marios, or the Marios with the flying hat, super power. I believe it's called Flying Mario, or Wing Mario. In this row here, you'll see that the bounding box only covers his face. So each row is kind of going to need its own default size. So for instance, when we get to the Super Mario bounding box, our Super Mario bounding box is going to be significantly larger. Let me adjust this here so you can see what those values would be. So for our large or Super Marios, our bounding box area is going to be 16 by 26. So that ability to change the image when resizing by doing percentage instead of by width and height, changing by percentage is going to become important, because now it becomes 32 by 52. So we keep that 32 width. That will be very helpful for Scratch programming. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to import one of our pictures into the Scratch program and show how that import process works. But this concludes the saving Mario sprites as individual files.